Hello and welcome to the next video on Insurrection and its lore. I'm your host David, and today we will be discussing what a chanter is. A chanter is surprisingly easy to describe, and even give requirements for. A chanter is basically just a person who uses the magical arts, more commonly called the arts, in order to cast spells and use magic. Unlike with most other professions, a chanter is closer to a class of a person like a noble or commoner. With that said, we will now proceed with the requirements. The requirements are actually really easy to list. Those being, they have to at least have the arcane affinity, must use the arts, and must be in control of their own mind, and finally, must have a strong sense of will. So as you can see, not many requirements are needed to be a chanter, and they're not really that hard to achieve. Now then, we will now be discussing how powerful they are. Alone, a chanter is not actually very powerful, and are actually weaker than most martial artists simply due to the fact that they lack affinities and the natural mana pool. However, a chanter with 2 or 3 affinities will be extremely powerful, and some could even take out entire armies alone, depending on which type of affinities they have and their circumstances. However, they still have weaknesses. They still need to perform the arts for powerful spells, and this still gives the opponent time to attack, defend, and they have to reveal what type of magic they are using as well, which means the ability to counter a chanter is very high. Now we will get on to the segment of the video where we talk about how this affects the game Insurrection. Put simply, your character is a chanter with all of the infinities, those including ice, fire, water, lightning, wind, nature, light, and dark. Avalon, the character's nickname, is an extremely rare person who is just now awakening to his powers, and his journey in the game is not only to fight for justice but also to understand him/herself, and to discover their purpose and reason for fighting. Not to worry though, you don't have to use the magic if you don't want to, but it can be used to provide some pretty serious buffs to your melee weapons and martial arts abilities. Now that we have that all over with, let's do a recap and wrap up the video. A chanter has certain requirements and can be enhanced via affinities, and the more affinities one has, the more powerful they are. They also use forms of art in order to cast their spells, and the most famous of which being chanting and dancing. Finally, we discovered that the character you take control of has affinities for all of the elements, and each element has its own little quest in the game to complete and learn. This was David, signing out.